To coast, direct from Austin. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
We've got it. This transmission is coming to you.
Waging war on corruption.
All right, you are go.
It's Alex Jones, coming to you live from the front lines of the InfoWar.
We see the Earth. You've got it.
We see the Earth from here.
We see the Earth now.
It is infested with parasite bureaucrats and corporate kleptocrats that use monopoly systems to shut down their competition and suck the population dry. And, well, we see the people of the planet waking up and kicking the hind ends of the parasites off this planet. Thank you for joining us. It is already the 26th day of August, 2012. It is Sunday, and we're going to be here for the next 2 hours. And I do intend to start going to your phone calls at the bottom of the hour. I'll give the number out coming up in the next segment. And as usual, we have a veritable cornucopia of absolutely enlightening, informative, thought-provoking, and, well, quite frankly, angering news and information that we are going to be running down here today with you, all of the great viewers out there that are tuning in via the radio. You're listening and obviously watching at prisonplanet.tv. Now, up until the moment I went live here, this constantly happens. I'm all focused. I know what I want to cover. I know what issue I want to get into. And then I see something out there on the street that totally takes me in another direction. You remember the gentleman, the West Point grad with no criminal record who filmed police roughing up women, so they arrested him. Well, now he got pulled over and filmed the police. He got arrested. We've got that type of news. We're just all over the Western world. You get arrested for filming the government servants. And when I went to the Zilker Park this morning, that's been free since it was set up over 100 years ago by a prominent Austinite that dedicated his land, Mr. Zilker. When you go down there now, they are charging you to even get into the park. People can say, well, government needs money. Government needs money. Well, no, it doesn't. Because all over the country, we see fines, fees, regulations, taxes being raised on us, but the big ultra-rich, they're exempt. And we pay for their billion-dollar stadiums, or we pay for their Formula One tracks. And studies have been done showing it doesn't even really bring money to the economy because it brings it only to select insiders. I saw reports where the Olympics cost $14 billion for the people of England. And $8 billion plus was siphoned off to friends of the Olympic Committee. It's all a giant boondoggle, all a giant scam. And people need to understand the banks are really being robbed in this country in a different way than we think. Our local banks are being shut down by the big mega banks. The big mega banks are exempt from taxation, exempt from regulation, and they're the ones pushing and selling this whole New World Order. But the point I want to make is the only crime going on out there is not just the stuff you hear about on the news. Bank robbers are stupid. That's a high-risk job. But if you can get into government and you can get into the bureaucracy, you can rob the people blind. Because as a culture now, across the world, government just unifies its criminal activity to where it's a seamless wall of corruption. I saw a report today where in a small town where people are going bankrupt and the economy's collapsing in Illinois, there is a government bureaucrat paid $500,000 a year to do, quote, 10 jobs, and it isn't 10 jobs, and the person gets 5 months of sick days off, not counting a couple more months of vacation time. So they work like 4 months out of the year and get $500,000. And I've seen cases like that all over the country where you'll have a city manager getting $890,000 a year while they're taking little old ladies' houses for property taxes. It's wrong. We'll be right back.
Wide, it's Alex Jones.
It certainly is, and I want to thank all of you for joining us on this Sunday transmission. There is no doubt I am the hardest working man in radio. I am here Monday through Friday, 12 noon to 3 p.m. Eastern. Back Sundays, 5 to 7 Eastern, or 4 to 6 Central, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central. And then we come back Sundays, again, with the 4 to 6 transmission. We also have the weeknight InfoWars Nightly News, 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, the television show, 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern, that streams out every night and is already picked up by some cable systems, not just here in the U.S., but in England. It's on the national cable system, 2 hours a week. Very exciting. Haven't even officially launched that out onto cable yet. Find out more at prisonplanet.tv or InfoWarsNews.com. Okay, wow, where to start? I am, again, in total overload right now. First off, Isaac, the big hurricane, could rival Hurricane Katrina and the amount of damage it could cause. And it's set to hit, I guess, Louisiana, Mississippi, and other areas. I'm wondering, will they confiscate everyone's guns again? Not let people get out on the highways, not let people leave their homes, or make them go to a sports stadium to be raped, and then have the FBI command the U.S. Army to take the guns because the government is so nice and friendly. No, we have a predatory government. Also, I said this a few days ago. I don't normally get into tabloid news headlines unless there's a teaching moment in it all to show propaganda. I saw the Prince Harry photos. You've seen them in Vegas. They're not playing strip billiards. Without getting graphic, he has a woman bent over, and he's clearly engaged in an act of intercourse. Again, I'm not a rocket scientist, but I know what I'm seeing. And it is now being reported by WYNN-TV. Report Prince Harry Vegas scandal could get much worse, more serious than strip billiards. And it goes on from there. In fact, the headline ends over at drudgereport.com at that point. This is how the Las Vegas Review-Journal, and I guess they were I thought that was an acronym for the TV stations, Las Vegas Review-Journal, reports that billionaire hotel developer Steve Wynn picked up the tab for Prince Harry's stay last week, lends credence to scuttlebutt that he's unhappy with his security team. Yeah, no kidding that they let the photos get out. Boy, the people that release those photos are going to have accidents. You better believe that. Because, you know, the royal family puts on this whole act like they're nice and they're friendly and that they care about everybody and that they're sweet and harmless. No, it's a giant criminal organization, a giant crime syndicate right at the head of the New World Order. It's kind of like the American media outfit, the tabloid that took photos of the Bush daughters falling down drunk here in Austin, Texas, where I come to you from. They got mailed anthrax, and the photographer got, of course, receipt of it and died when the U.S. government weaponized, super weaponized anthrax was delivered to him. So not a healthy move to release those. In fact, I predict the people involved will be dead within 1 year. Just remember, I predicted that here. Continuing here, ladies and gentlemen, that's just some of the mindless tabloid stuff that's out there. But, you know, if anybody else was caught naked with women bent over tables, it would be a giant scandal, and it would be, oh, how horrible they are. Instead, the media spinning it, oh, just some naked billiards. Oh, just, you know, no big deal. No, the elites go to Las Vegas to have sex with your daughters who can't get jobs in an economy anymore outside of the sex trade. Let's just get that part straight as well. That's the new trade here in America. And the only reason the government keeps it illegal in most areas, they don't in Las Vegas, is so they can control it and suck money out of it. Everybody knows in every major city, the police department runs the whores. They've even caught a bunch of the Austin police over the years running the whores around here. Again, I'm coming to you from Austin, Texas, but anything I talk about happening in my town, you better believe is happening in your town. All of this tyranny we face is able to take place because the general public thinks it's cool to be uninformed and naive. That's why we're in this position. And we need to understand that as the liberty goes out the window, so goes the prosperity. And as things get worse and worse, we need to understand that getting back to liberty will restore our republic. Now, I was on Coast to Coast AM for 4 hours Friday night with John B. Wells, who was sitting in for the great George Norrie, coasttocoastam.com, if you want to go through and find the subscription podcast of it. It was particularly powerful. 4th hour, got picked up by the Examiner. Coast to Coast AM at its best, Alex Jones and the banking fraud special. Now, they had a show called Spank the Banks Saturday where they had 5 experts on breaking it all down. That was excellent as well. That's linked up at Infowars.com. But the point is that we went over all the different police state news. And I actually had one of the producers that was on the night shift there pop in and say, where is that Army manual for re-education camps in America? Because I want to look that up. And I was like, thank you for wanting to check into what I'm saying. And thank you for caring. Because, you know, an average listener out there, average other talk show host listening, hears me talking about Army gun confiscation drills all over the country and admitting they're training to confiscate guns. Or if I say there's an Army document calling for war with the Tea Party and claiming that the military is making preparations to fight the Tea Party, you know what? I need to back that up. Of course, I did read the headline. It was backed up. We did break the story. It was in several major national newspapers after we reported it, like the Washington Times. But I'm glad people hear something like that and get concerned. Because so many people have such an amazing normalcy bias that they can watch somebody get stabbed. I mean, you see these cases in the news all the time, in front of them on a busy street, and the person falls down and bleeds to death for an hour, and no one helps them. And we have a public that's so self-centered, so domesticated, so soft, so apathetic, that they will sit and watch the society collapse because they're so fat, dumb, and happy until it affects them. But then by the time it affects them, well, their neighbors are just like they are, so it's not affecting them yet. They're not going to stand up for you. And it's a terrible place to be, so isolated, so terribly alone culturally, so atomized politically, exactly as the ruling corrupt monopoly class wanted us to be. The big mega elites that seek to shut down free markets and want to operate through combines and monopolies. And so in the second hour, after I cover some other news and take calls, I will spend a segment or two just going over a spectrum of news that we've covered in the last few months. Leaked Army document outlines plans for re-education camps in America, and I'll give you the Army document, FM 3-39.40, Internment Resettlement Operations PDF. I'll get into Army Strategic Shock Report says troops may be needed to quell U.S. civil unrest. Army manual outlines plans to kill rioters, demonstrators in America. Warning shots will not be fired. It's a quote. U.S. Army to be used against insurrectionist Tea Party. That's only 2 weeks old. We've got military training for national gun confiscation. This is in public documents. And people are like, oh, well, what's the big deal? Well, they're admitting they're doing this now. So it means they're getting very close to the engineered implosion when the system will then pose as the saviors and bring all this in. Also, I was on Coast to Coast AM to talk about veteran declared mentally defective has gun seized. We've heard about the Brandon Robb case, the Marine Corps.
Coast to Coast, direct from Austin. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
We've got it. This transmission is coming to you.
Waging war on corruption.
All right, you are go.
It's Alex Jones, coming to you live from the front lines of the InfoWar.
We see the earth from here, filming the government servants. And when I went to the Zilker Park this morning, that's been free since it was set up over 100 years ago by a prominent Austinite that dedicated his land, Mr. Zilker. When you go down there now, they are charging you to even get into the park. People can say, well, government needs money. Government needs money. Well, no, it doesn't. Because all over the calls at the bottom of the hour, I'll give the number out coming up in the next segment. And as usual, we have a veritable cornucopia of absolutely enlightening, informative, thought-provoking, and, well, quite frankly, angering news and information that we are going to be running down here today with you, all of the great viewers out there that are tuning in via the radio. You're listening and obviously watching at prisonplanet.tv. Now, up until the moment I went live here, this constantly happens. I'm all focused. I know what I want to cover. I know what issue I want to get into. And then I see something out there on the street that totally takes me in another direction. You remember the gentleman, the West Point grad with no criminal record who filmed police roughing up women, so they arrested him. Well, now he got pulled over and filmed the police. He got arrested. We've got that type of news. We're just all over the Western world. You get arrested for filming. It is infested with parasite bureaucrats and corporate kleptocrats that use monopoly systems to shut down their competition and suck the population dry. And, well, we see the people of the planet waking up and kicking the hind ends of the parasites off this planet. Thank you for joining us. It is already the 26th day of August, 2012. It is Sunday, and we're going to be here for the next 2 hours. And I do intend to start going to your phone call.